Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name is Norf, I am from London, and do you get the feeling that we're gonna be doing this for quite some time? Yeah, I kinda get that feeling as well. So in this video, I'm gonna quickly cover off two topics for teachers and educators globally. I'm gonna quickly cover off tech, and then I'll cover off online engagement techniques. I'll give you some free options, and then I'll give you some cost options. Right at the end, I've got a bonus for you, so stick around right to the end. But if you're ready, let's get started. As teachers and educators, sometimes we don't get the resources that we need to really create an impactful online lesson for our students or delegates. And this is compounded now whilst we're having to flip from in-person deliveries to online deliveries. Sometimes it means that we have to put our hands in our own pocket in order to get these resources to ensure that our lessons really do stand head and shoulders above anything else, in order to keep really great engagement for our students and delegates. And if you ask me, it's just not right, not by any stretch of the imagination. But that's a whole nother conversation for another time. Everything I use in this video, I use day in, day out when I am presenting or delivering online classes. It's not the best tech in the world, but it's good enough for what we need as educators and teachers. In-person teachers are being agile and pivoting really quickly. Why do I say that? Because delivering online lessons is a completely different skill set. So the first of this week's two topics is tech. I picked this up in another video that I'll post just up here, but I'm only going to give you 3 of my tech tips. Now these tips I use whenever I am delivering any online classes. So in this part, I'm going to give you a free thing to do, then I'm going to give you a cost option. So the first thing that we're going to look at is light. The camera technology that goes into our laptops aren't necessarily the best cameras you can get. So give the cameras a little bit of a helping hand. Before you come to deliver your online lesson to your students or delegates, where you can, position yourself in front of a big light source. The free way to do it is to position yourself in front of a nice big window. Even though you may be in the UK where it's grey and dreary most of the time, that natural light pouring in will illuminate your face and your space really nicely. If there's a light source behind you, the camera will set up on that light source that's behind you. And it would mean that the exposure of your face probably won't be that good. Therefore, your students or delegates won't be able to see you. Your face will be in shadow. So as a freebie, position yourself in front of a nice large window. If you're not able to do that, a really cost-effective option is to buy yourself a light. You can choose to get a ring light, or you can choose to get a flat panel LED light. As a preference, I prefer not to go for the ring lights. Because I wear glasses, I find you get this horrible reflection bouncing off the front of my lenses. I would tend to go for a flat panel LED light, and a bonus tip, have the light on a stand that's bouncing off a wall. Now, bouncing off the wall means that that light ends up becoming really soft when it hits your face. The more soft the light you can get, the better it will look for your delegates and your students looking at you on your online platform. The second of my 3 tips this week is audio. Make sure that your audio is crystal clear. As a freebie, of course, you can always shout at your laptop, but the challenge with that is that if you use your laptop to take notes, so you type on the keyboard, that sound will also be transmitted through the microphone that's on your laptop through to your delegates or your students. And that could well be a bit of a distraction. Speaking of distractions, wherever possible, try to keep them down to a minimum. As a freebie for audio, you may want to plug in a set of headphones with a microphone that's in line in one of the cables. Typically, the set of headphones that you get with your smartphone could potentially be compatible with your laptop. If you've got a 3.5mm jack at the end, chances are those will be compatible with your computer. If not, you may have to purchase a little adapter to convert to 3.5mm, and you can buy those from your favorite online retailer. For me personally, I'm not a fan of having wires everywhere because I gesticulate quite a lot. I've often found that I've caught the cable that's going into my ear it pops out and there's a real kerfuffle that goes on if I have to try and find it and plug it back in whilst I am presenting. So what I would do is upgrade to a pair of Bluetooth in-ear headphones. Here are a couple of options. These are a great cost-effective option if you're on a budget. I'll put a link in the description below. These ones, however, are my go-to in-ear headphones. Typically, these would last me a full day, but it depends on whether I've got a full day of meetings or I've got some gaps in between. The sound quality is superb. They are really light and comfortable to wear all day. The bonus with these ones is that they connect to my laptop and my smartphone at the same time. These are an outstanding pair of Bluetooth headphones made by Jabra. The third of my 3 tips this week is camera placement. Now, in my experience, when I've placed my laptop on the desk, people tend to look up and find my 15 chins. Nobody needs to see that. Nobody at all. So in order to avoid that, I would simply put my laptop onto a stack of books. It means that the camera is at my eye level. I'm not looking up at someone, and I'm neither looking down at someone. I'm virtually looking straight at them. Dependent on how old your laptop is, the camera may not function as good as it could be. So as a cost option, you may want to purchase an external USB webcam. It doesn't have to be the best that money can get. It can be a simple 1080p webcam with a few critical features on that you need from a reputable manufacturer that is good enough. Remember, content is king, and for me, quality is queen, and they stand side by side. Being on a budget, a great cost-effective option is to use one of these. This is an aluminium laptop stand. I use this every day when I'm working. It's aluminium, it's lightweight, it's fit for purpose. It means that I can adjust the height, I can adjust the tilt. It also helps with heat dissipation. By also having the laptop elevated, it means that you avoid getting neck ache. And once I'm done with it, I can fold it down and put it away. With using my laptop stand, it allows me to look directly down the barrel of the camera. It also means for my students and delegates, they only get to see one chin. So those were my 3 tech tips. The next topic I want to look at is online engagement. How do you keep your students and delegates engaged? These are my 3 tips that I use when I'm sharing any information or teaching or educating online. The first of my tips is simply interaction. What interaction are you expecting from your students or delegates? A really simple thing that you can do for your students or delegates is to ask great and appropriate questions. I would always start with open questions. What, where, why, when, and how. Asking open questions of your students and delegates demands more than just a binary yes/no response. Asking open questions allows for good engagement and great interaction. The second tip to get great online engagement is to use non-verbal cues. What do I mean by that? If you think about the technology that we have in Zoom and Teams and Google Meet, just to name a few, the technology is based on sound activation. In other words, when a sound is detected on any one of those online sessions, the system switches to where the sound has been detected. If you've asked that open question and you're waiting for a response, as that person is responding, if you give a verbal cue, which is something that we naturally would do as humans, to go, okay, yes, the system will be switching between you as an educator and your student you've asked a question from, and that could well cause a distraction. Speaking of distractions, so the best way I found to avoid this is to use non-verbal cues. Of course, as a teacher or an educator, if you've asked someone a question, you'll be 100% tuned in to what they're going to be saying. So that would mean you looking directly down the barrel of the camera, you'll be smiling and nodding. That way, it wouldn't cause a distraction to your student or delegate answering the question. You'll also be focused on what they are saying. You may well look down at their picture, or you may look directly down the barrel of the camera to make it look like you are looking at them. Non-verbal cues on sound-activated online technology is a real key win. Of course, the mute button is your friend. As a teacher or educator, you would have previously muted everyone except the person that you would be gaining the answer from. The third of my top tips is to ensure that your slides are well prepared, that you have very good, if not outstanding slides. I'll post a video up here of my workflow in terms of how I go about creating outstanding slides. When creating slides, the best course of action is not to put everything on the slides. Text on slides really is a massive distraction because people will be trying to read what's on the slide, listen to you as well, and we're not very good at multitasking as humans. Go back to that old notion, which is pictures speak 1,000 words. Remember, as the teacher or the educator, you are there to instruct. You are always the storyteller. As a bonus tip, during your online session, ensure to have a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper handy. Why? To write down notes. By writing down notes, you'll be able to capture some interesting comments and high points from what you've observed and from whom during your online session. You'll be able to refer back to these during your online class, and these notes will help you create a summary of learning at the end. Capturing and referring to these notes during your online session will allow you to spark and continue great dialogue. And that's it for this week. We looked at 2 topics. We had a quick look at teacher tech and some of the things that you need. We looked at light, we looked at audio, and we looked at camera and why these things are so critical. And then we looked at the topic of online engagement and how do you keep that online engagement nice and high. We looked at asking great and appropriate questions. We looked at non-verbal cues and why they are such a great easy win. Then we looked at preparing outstanding slides. Then we looked at the bonus tip of pencil or pen and a piece of paper. It may well be that you'll have a tablet next to you. Whatever you choose to use, you'll have something handy to write down some notes. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate the time that you spent in watching this content. If you like the content, please do give me a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the channel and remember to hit the bell notification so you don't miss out when I upload brand new content to the channel. That's it for this week. I'll see you next time.